In every neighborhood, there is a street food king. For us, that was Rajiv. His momos were so cheap and so addictive that I found myself eating them every single day, completely blind to the caloric consequences. That blissful ignorance ended on a crowded bus ride. A pretty girl stood next to me, but the guys across the aisle weren't looking at her. They were staring right at my chest. I looked down and realized my daily Momo habit had manifested into a very visible pair of man boobs. In that moment, two awful truths hit me. First, our local roads have way too many potholes. Second, the city is definitely not safe for out-of-shape guys. I needed to get to a gym immediately. When you live purely for comfort, the streets will eventually publicly humble you. I had no choice but to face my own lack of discipline and start lifting heavy things. I mapped out my fitness journey like a hero preparing for battle. I was going to be disciplined, focused, and relentless. But Rajiv knew his core demographic. He packed up and relocated his Momo stall directly across the street from the local gym. You step out of the gym doors and you are mathematically forced to walk straight into his waiting line. The local ecosystem actively fought against fitness. Guys built like the Incredible Hulk would spend 5 hours sweating inside, only to walk out and immediately shovel down plates of paneer momos, convincing themselves the cheese counted as protein. The entire neighborhood is structured as a closed-loop trap. You pay to burn calories, and the guy next door profits by selling them right back to you. Getting inside the gym revealed a totally separate set of ridiculous rules. Before you could even touch a dumbbell, the trainer would inspect your sneakers for dust, treating a tiny smudge of mud like a health code violation. My own strategy was equally embarrassing. I'd run on the treadmill for exactly 5 minutes, jump off, and check the scale, genuinely expecting to watch my weight drop in real time. Meanwhile, the local gym bros operated with the stealthy aesthetic of underground drug dealers. And if you wanted spotting help from the trainer, you were out of luck. He ignored any extended hand from a guy, keeping his total focus locked on flirting with the female clients. If you actually want to meet someone, relying on creepy gym tactics is a guaranteed way to fail. You have to bypass that circus entirely, which is where a tool like Happen makes sense. It's a dating app designed specifically around people you actually cross paths in the real world with. Instead of forcing awkward conversations over a bench press, Happen safely connects you with people who frequent the same common locations. It removes the weird pressure and lets your daily geography do the heavy lifting. The local gym operates as a high-priced vanity club. In this environment, the pursuit of a specific aesthetic has entirely replaced the pursuit of health. Since I lacked the basic willpower to just stop eating momos, I took the only logical alternative. I decided to completely destroy the vendor's reputation. I started whispering highly specific, disgusting lies. First, I told people Rajiv kneaded his dough with his feet. Then I added that he used his own armpit hair to season the filling. Because people are inherently gullible, the lie spread like wildfire. Within days, it reached critical mass, evolving into a widely accepted neighborhood fact that Rajiv had packed his bags and fled to Nepal to escape the law. When you live in a chaotic environment, waging psychological warfare and ruining a man's livelihood is significantly easier than doing a single push-up. With the Momo threat neutralized, I still had to deal with the gym. They actually expected me to pay full fees while the trainer completely ignored me, so I quit and turned to the dark corners of YouTube fitness. My new routine hit rock bottom. Every night, 3 friends and I would get into our beds, hop on a Zoom call, screen share a 2-minute video titled How to Make Hulk Body at Home, and literally just watch it before falling asleep. This is a chart comparing basic fitness supplements. On the left is creatine, a popular compound for muscle recovery. On the right is keratin, a protein found in hair products. One of my friends proudly announced he was taking keratin daily, meaning he was actually drinking shampoo for his gains. We had successfully removed the toxic gym culture and the junk food from our lives, but it didn't matter. You can clear out all the bad influences in the world, but if you are actively allergic to effort, you will find a way to fail. But the streets always hold on to their secrets, and my victory was entirely fabricated. Rajiv never actually went to Nepal. He just waited for the neighborhood to get distracted before opening a new stall under a different alias. I eventually saw the gym trainer, the same man who refused to shake my hand, clandestinely meeting with Rajiv's son. They were behind the stall, mixing a suspicious white powder directly into the Momo dough and handing off bags of unlabeled supplements. The local fitness industry and the street food market have merged into a single cycle of dependence. The gym provides the burn, the stall provides the instant replacement, and both are fueled by the same questionable chemical supply. Defeated by the conspiracy, I abandoned fitness entirely. I decided to retreat to something pure, simple, and nostalgic, flying kites on the roof. But even that was immediately ruined. The 24-hour news cycle had convinced my mother that glass-coated kite string was the preferred weapon of local terrorists, and she banned it from the house, which left me standing on a rooftop, flying a crumpled plastic grocery bag tied to a sewing thread. It was the only option allowed. You cannot outsmart the bizarre ecosystem of the streets. You can't beat the trainers, and you certainly can't beat the Momo vendors. In the end, you just have to find your own pathetic little way to survive it.